Hi everybody, this is Oksana. In this video we're going to make this cute little heart pendant. Doesn't involve a cabochon this time, just has a little bit of beads here for decoration, which of course you don't have to add the beads if you don't want to. And it uses round wire, and there's a little bit of hammering here for texture. So if you want to see how to make this little heart pendant, just keep watching. So I'm starting out with some 20 gauge round copper dead soft wire. Mine is from riogrande.com, and you just need one piece. This is probably too long, but it depends on how large you want to make your heart. So mine is 9 inches or 23 centimeters. So once you have that piece of wire, you want to make the two ends of it meet so you can figure out roughly where the middle is. And once you know that, you can take your pliers and you can kind of hold it in the middle there and then make a little bend, and then just kind of pull the wire straight so that you get this little angular type of bend that's going to be the bottom of your heart. And it's up to you if you want to make it like a sharper bend or a more rounded bend. You can just play around with it. So what really helps with this next step is to have some bail making pliers, or maybe if you don't have those, using round nose pliers or just something round to bend around. So I'm going to use the 4th size, so it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab just a little bit of a ways up, just like imagine where you want the curvature of the heart to be, like how tall you want the heart, and then I'm just bending around, and I actually want to bend so that the wire is going down, so just like this. And then you bend on the other side. If you are a bit of a perfectionist, which I'm not, I just eyeball everything and then I like fix it up when it's crooked later. But you could actually, measure and make a little mark on your wire so you know where you want those little curves to be, so that it's super duper even. So I'm just fixing that. I noticed there's just like a little bend here that got formed. So I'm just gonna kind of squish it straight. There we go. That's straight. Let me bring this a little further. And then this a little further. All right. So ultimately, this is what you want, something like this, where you have a heart, but these little wires from the heart are both pointing down and they're not overlapping. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna hold, like pinch it up here so it doesn't move out of place, and then hold these two wires together. So you make something like this, and then don't touch the two wires, but put your fingers on the little heart underneath and try to just push it down a little bit. So this is what you'll get. Now here is something that's totally optional, but you could, before you do this next part and you connect the two wires, you could add some beads to your heart if you wanted to. So you just need a bead that's large enough to kind of go on this wire and just kind of slide it up and around. You might have to just ever so slightly open that little curvature of your heart. So I guess the easiest thing to do would be to put the beads on first if you wanted to. So I'm just going to add just a few beads here. All right, so I added 4 beads, darker pink ones and lighter pink ones. And yeah, in hindsight, Probably should have done that before I made the curves of the heart, since I kind of had to uncurve it to add the beads. All right, so we want these two wires to be together, and we want them to be ever so slightly just kind of up away from our heart, just so you can kind of get in there to do some weaving. For weaving, I'm going to be using some 26 gauge round wire, again dead soft copper, solid copper wire from Rio Grande. So this particular weaving pattern, I have a video on that like explains it in great detail. If you want to see, I'll link that below. I will explain it in this video as well, but if I go too quickly for you, I just want to let you know that there is a more thorough video if you're trying this weaving pattern for the first time. So I'm putting the wire in between the two wires, and I'm bringing it up and around, and then around the top. So we formed kind of two little loops, one around the bottom wire and one around the top wire. And now I'm bringing it down across both wires. Let me just kind of separate these a little. It's down across both wires. And now around the bottom and around the top and down across both wires. Around the bottom, around the top, and let me zoom in. It's okay. I'm going to say that one more time here. So down across both, around the bottom, around the top, and down across both. So this is our little weaving pattern. And after you've done it for just a little bit, don't do it too much, because then it's going to become pretty difficult to slide it. You can kind of slide it up. So what I'm also going to do is, let me just trim off the excess here on this little wire. So I'm just going to pull on that a little bit. And then here, if you flip it over, so you're on this like front, this is going to be our front side of our heart. So you'll see the little wire end coming in here. So you want to trim it. And then just kind of follow it in the direction that it was bending and just pinch it down a little bit there. All right, so now we're just going to slide this up. I just wanted to take care of that wire end, because if you leave the wire end, it's just gonna be harder to get in here. All right, so slid this up. I just want to make sure that your heart did not get like disfigured or anything. So you do want it to be up at the top here, but you want just a little bit of space, just a little bit. Like imagine your heart, like if you were to draw a heart, and that's how much space you need here is for this little V shape. Like if you push this all the way up, then it almost like doesn't form the V shape, and your heart is just like that. You know what I mean? So once you've pushed that up, you just want to continue this little weaving pattern. So I'm going to continue it for a little bit here. And I'll come back when it's long enough, because this is going to be our bail, so we just want it to be a little longer. All right, so it's a little longer now. I might need to weave just slightly more, but I just want to show you this next part, because it'll also make it easier for you to determine how much more to do. So what you want to do is you want to grab this heart with your pliers right here, just right where this weaving pattern starts. Just like this. And then you want to bend this up. So you're basically making just a nice sharp bend directly upwards like that. And then at some point you might have to resort to squishing it with your fingers, and then here on the front I'm just gonna try and squish it down as much as I can. It helps to have these little pliers because they're so small. I have them linked down below. They're the Xuron. I always forget if it's tweezer nose or needle nose. Tweezer nose. All right, so once you kind of squish that as much as you can, try to get it nice and flat there, and also just kind of even. This is what it's going to look like, and now you have a better idea of your bail. Like if I start to curve this as my bail, you can kind of see like this isn't much to curve at all. It would be like the tiniest bail. So I definitely need to weave a little longer, and it's probably easier for you to hold it like this as you weave as well. All right, so once you think that the bail is long enough, I think I've made mine maybe even too long here, but you can just trim the wire end and just trim it in there so it'll be inside of your bail, and just kind of pinch that down. I'm just gonna try and tighten up this weave here. There we go. Just want to separate these two wires a little bit, and that'll also help it not unravel. All right, so once you do that, you can grab your pliers again, your bail making pliers if you have them, and bend it around to make that circular shape of the bail. Here's what that looks like. And then take these wires, and you might want to kind of slide it this way. Continue bending them around your pliers like this. So now I just need to adjust my pliers so that I can continue to bend them around. So I'm bending them down. Like this. Here's what it's looking like so far. It's basically going around and around. And now I'm just going to bring them back to the front here. Now you could, if you like just how it's looking right now, you could like maybe wrap them around here, the heart, but then it would have like a little thing there where you put the wires. So I just want to show you this other option. So I'm bringing them to the front here. And this one needs to be kind of squished down. All right, so here's the other option. What we want to do is we want to cut the wires kind of evenly so that we have equal little ends here. And then take your round nose pliers. I like to just kind of squish the wire before I make the curve, and make a little loop, little swirl. Like that. You can kind of mess around with it after to see if it needs to go forward or... And I'm just going to do the other side. Let's hope they are symmetrical. Yep, looking pretty symmetrical there. All right, so let me zoom in here and just show you what happens. So we bent the bail around our bail making pliers, and it went around, And then we kept bending just the wire after the weave was done here, just the wire. We bent it all the way around so you can see that little circle that got formed. And then here's this wire at the front. We left ourselves a little end and we made this little swirl with it, just like that. So here is what our heart looks like so far. Oops, let me zoom out. And I just want to show you one more optional step. So what you would want to do for this step is you'd want to kind of move these these beads. You're going to focus on this side here because we have the beads here, but there's nothing here on this other side. So you do have to be careful because, you know, you don't want to damage the rest of your heart. This is going to involve some hammering. So you would take a block, an iron block, and you would put the side of the heart, just this edge here, on here. You have to be careful not to hit your beads. And you would hammer, I can't really do it here in the air, but you would take a chasen hammer and hammer just that side. And then for decoration, you can use this other rounded bit and it kind of makes like these cool little indents. So I'm just gonna do that off camera so I can show you the result. All right, so here's what it looks like after I do the hammering. I hope you can see the little bit of texture that got formed on this edge. It's just for looks if you want to add this little texture. And I wouldn't do it on both sides because then you won't be able to slide the beads on because this becomes like flatter and thicker when you hammer it. And you could theoretically have done this in the beginning, but it's also tricky because you have the heart shape, you have these wires kind of in the way coming out the front. So it's up to you when you want to do the hammering. I found it easier to do at the end, but either way, this is the little heart pendant, and the beads are kind of fun because you can move them around a little bit too, almost like a little fidget. So that is it. I hope you enjoyed and thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.